that view this spooky footage.
In a world where television serves as our window to reality, sometimes it offers glimpses into the most chilling, inexplicable events. From demonic eyes appearing mid-broadcast to terrifying near-death experiences, live TV has a unique way of capturing moments that freeze us in our tracks. Join us as we delve into some of the scariest moments ever caught on live television. Each incident is more unsettling than the last, reminding us that sometimes the most spine-chilling horror can unfold right before our eyes. Number 1. Demonic eyes. We don't care what explanations someone can give us regarding this occurrence, but imagine watching live TV and focusing on the reporter who's telling you a story when this happens. As she blinks, a new set of demonic-looking eyes appears and sticks around until she blinks again. We don't know about you, but if this were a normal occurrence in real life, we would probably avoid eye contact altogether. Number 2. Fainted on live TV. You know that moment when your breath stops and you focus only on realizing what just happened and what the consequences are? As these two news reporters pass the word to their colleagues, we can see from the get-go that she's struggling to remain calm, but her troubles have definitely already begun. If you pay close attention to her face, you can catch the exact moment that she loses consciousness, which wouldn't have been a scary thing were it not for the fall that followed. As the panic spreads among her colleagues, we realize that the woman could have hit her head in the fall. Luckily, this didn't happen. Number 3. Kevin Hart protects a secret. We can't be exactly certain what this was about, but as they were talking in this interview, Kelly almost spilled the beans on some things that she was offered to do for a lot of money.
To do something I didn't want to do. And
some speculate this has to do with Hollywood and the way that some secret things are usually done. However, being a much experienced player of this game, Kevin apparently first glances at the camera, checking whether he's being shown on live TV, but he fails to realize that the camera has caught the moment that he actually shows her that it is wiser to be silent about some things. Now, being a well-versed celebrity in this situation, Kelly makes a joke out of it, but if we pay close attention to Kevin's face and attitude, we can see that something has changed, and the room has become a bit colder. We don't know about you, but if we were caught during a live show, we would probably also accept the joke narrative that was put forward to cover something potentially much scarier. Number 4. Near-death experience. This reporter was just doing his job, which couldn't have felt too exciting, even though in the back there was a lot of noise and cars going by. What are the odds that, at that exact moment, a driver in the back lost control and caused a collision? Once it happened, the white car essentially bounced away from the one that it collided with and nearly smashed the reporter. Luckily, the cameraman was able to recognize what was about to happen and scream out, saving the reporter's life. We can see that both the camera and the car don't end up whole, but at least no lives were lost that day. Imagine being behind your TV screen when this happened. How severe was the crash you would get to conclude from the smashed-up car that we see slowly rolling behind? Number 5. A cursed object. When the show starts out as creepy as this one, with people sitting around a doll, could we really expect anything less eerie than what's about to happen? This family claims the doll is possessed and has behaved, and yes, you heard right, in a very unusual way. Besides being able to move on its own, it seems to be aggressive towards the woman and her husband, even being able to pull off an attack on these people. Apparently, as they were sleeping, the doll crept in and scratched the man's face and body. Now, being a reasonable human being doesn't easily let you believe such a tale, and we recognize even the hosts aren't too trusting at the beginning. However, during the show, this eerie doll literally starts rocking in the chair, startling the host and probably making him question his reason. The doll does this multiple times during the interview. Number 6. A face hidden in reflection. Now this video has split the crowd regarding what they feel can be seen behind President Obama's shoulder. The eerie reflection appears to be some sort of an apparition or even a masked person who's doing a prank as a very serious statement is being given out. Considering this, we don't feel there would be those courageous enough to pull it off, but then we're left with the question of what this could be. As the interview progresses, these things appear even to be moving. While there definitely is a part of the movement that can be explained based on the reflection of the movement in front of it, some feel that the human-like features on this face can't be a product of just that. Number 7, a paranormal event. These two TV hosts were having a day like any other when the one on the right noticed something strange happening with the glass. We can clearly see the surprise on his face as he looks around, checking if anybody else has noticed it. Since neither the other host nor the cameraman seem to react to the spooky occurrence, we can see that panic arises in the man. He clearly questions his own sanity and is probably trying to come up with a way to explain this even to his own senses. If the camera hadn't caught this, we would all probably just neglect it, as we can see their other host has. Number 8, a ghost orb. As these folks were making a report about a haunted house where a woman lost her life before there was a chance for the doctor to get to her and provide help, well, the team probably didn't feel there was much to the story. But after they have reviewed the footage, they noticed a few things that were out of the order. For starters, even though the contrast setting on the camera could be the cause, we see that the lights seem to dance in this room, even as the reporter is explaining the story. But that isn't what caused the most worry. Actually, as they were recording the rooms and the surroundings, an eerie green orb joined them. If it was a smudge on the camera, it would make sense that the reflection would follow the camera's movement. But since this isn't the case, the crew got worried that they might have stumbled upon a real deal. Later on, as they were filming around the house, this orb joined them again and flew around. Number 9, a creepy face. These folks were watching the show as the man who used to be President Trump's press secretary was speaking, and they caught something that made them shiver. They were so afraid and couldn't believe their own eyes that they started recording the TV as this was happening live. While it does seem like a glitch, it weirdly occurs only on the man's face. Nowhere on his body or anywhere else do we see similar errors. But that's not even the issue. It's about the creepy faces that seem to overlay the man. Some believe this could be something more than just a technical error, especially because it happens only to this and not the others who also appeared on the show. Number 10, help us, Lord. This scary glitch was caught on camera by a guy who was watching the news as the report was proceeding about a serious disaster, including a train wreck. Before you understand what the truly creepy and scary thing is, let's mention that not a single piece of evidence could exist about this occurrence were it not for this footage. Namely, the TV station had nothing to do with how the video turned out, and the audio recording wasn't what they played for their viewers. However, once this footage was published, many people realized that they had experienced the same thing and heard these eerie voices. It is almost as if the victims themselves are calling out for help and have joined in prayer. Adding another layer of creepy to this event, even the footage became kind of glitchy, but the audio seemed to be on the loop and kept repeating, "Jesus Christ, help us all, Lord." After over a minute of this repeated audio, the volume started lowering, and eventually, the prayers were silenced. Number 11, assaulted during live TV. This guy was doing his job reporting to the public when we noticed that in the back, there was a white vehicle parking and a very enraged man exited it. Apparently, this fellow is a serious hater of the reporter. Imagine the profound rage that this man must feel, considering that he didn't even flinch, sprinting to attack the reporter as he was broadcasting live. It must be that the cameraman has given him a hint, since, as soon as the reporter turns around, he realizes something weird is going on. He tries relocating to hide the man away from the camera, but this dude isn't going to just let it go. This intruder insists on being a distraction and refuses to be ignored. He even started screaming at the reporter and jumped in to assault him, not even caring for potential millions of viewers who could witness this move. Number 12. Hail Satan on live TV. It started out as just another day, just another report from the street, but when the camera cut to the news anchor back in the studio, there was a brief glitch that showed some sort of ritualistic event happening, and quite frankly, it is as eerie as they get.
Hail Satan.
Now, you don't have to be much into conspiracy theories to realize something wrong is happening here, considering that on set, there are clear satanic elements, including an upside-down cross, pentagram, the red lights, and the figure behind this desk even exclaimed, "Hail Satan," on live TV. As the camera cuts back to the news reporter, even her face shows us that this wasn't something we were supposed to see. What in the world could this have been? Are these some attempts to unconsciously subdue us and make us more receptive to such rituals? Number 13, a close one. This journalist was making a report for the 100th anniversary of an army. The idea clearly was to show off a bit of strength by making a few cool shots and including them in the live TV broadcast. However, we can't be sure who had the idea, but they don't seem to understand how choppers work. As it passed over the woman, we could see how strongly the helicopter pushed her. Was it not for her good balance? This could have clearly been a disaster. The camera crew that we see in the back is also having trouble maintaining their balance and safety. This lady is nothing less of a very brave journalist who does the same thing not once but multiple times, attempting to catch the perfect shot. Number 14. An alligator attack. When you're thinking about alligator attacks, we're pretty sure you're not imagining people standing in a studio and trying to save their fingers from getting snapped. They wanted to make the show more interesting, so this sports anchor and the people who take care of these dangerous animals were showing them to the public while enjoying what they planned to be a pleasant conversation. However, once the alligator handler tells the anchor to get close, the animal seems to protest and starts throwing a serious defense. Now, all of this wouldn't be too scary were it not for the fact that the anchor nearly lost his grip on the alligator's body, which could have easily led to a strong jaw clenching against his flesh. After a few moments of struggle, the woman manages to subdue the alligator and hold him firmly as the show comes to an end. We don't think this guy would like to play around with the dangerous animal again. Number 15. A UFO sighting. This scary event was made even worse for viewers since there were two commentators essentially narrating the whole deal. It happened during a football game back in 1979. As the game progressed, the camera caught a glimpse of something unexplainable in the sky. These two objects seem to move in an unexplainable manner, but they keep sticking one next to the other, moving almost parallelly and in the same direction. After the brief glitch, even the commentators are asking themselves what this could be. Making a joke out of it so as not to scare the public, one of them invites the other to explain it, and they get back to reporting about the game, taking the viewer's attention away from this scary discovery. Number 16. Shuttle explodes on live TV. In this next case, we bring you one of the most famous tragedies that was followed by millions of people on live TV. Now let us try to lead you through the experience that millions of people had at that time. Namely, the people you see in this footage are all heroes that people were amazed by and looked up to. As they were preparing for their mission, essentially, the whole world was getting excited. While the mission itself isn't something out of the ordinary and was done multiple times before, this time the crew included a school teacher, which humanized the experience and got the public involved, following how this feat named Teacher in Space program will turn out. The whole crew was definitely high-spirited, and we saw them smiling as they prepared to depart. This is when the big moment comes, and the shuttle is about to be launched. At that moment, a big part of the public was in front of their TVs, essentially at the edge of their seats. As the flight of the shuttle begins, their excitement must have reached a peak. Unfortunately, 73 seconds after the flight started, viewers realize something has gone terribly wrong when a huge explosion happens and covers a big portion of the sky with smoke that follows the trail of separate shuttle parts that flew around. Number 17. A hunted boy. We don't think there's a simple way to explain this without showing it, but in 2010 in Jamaica, multiple reports were made about a boy who was hunted by some sort of ghost. Apparently, in random moments, this boy experienced strong pulls and movements of his body that he wasn't responsible for. Some of these were even caught on camera and can definitely be a source of goosebumps. The boy even claims that the ghost that's hunting him could be his friend who passed away. The reason he believes this is the case is that he was able to see him on multiple occasions. On one of these occasions, the boy said that he could notice the ghost standing by a wall. Once the boy stands by him, the spirit seems to have been triggered, and we see him pull the boy once again. Considering that this kept happening long enough, even spiritual support was provided to the boy. But it didn't seem to do much. We don't know about you, but we hope our friends won't be as stubborn as this eerie ghost. Number 18. Upsy Daisy. These folks were doing a report in this very clean and white-looking scenery, but as the report started, we saw that the woman holding the microphone was having some trouble maintaining her balance, and they were not even skiing yet. Soon after, she fell, landing directly on the back of her head, and even though he tried, the man wasn't able to catch her as she was falling. Luckily, this doesn't seem to be a serious medical issue, and she retrieves her wit quite quickly. What a professional this woman is, considering that she just kept on going with the report, interviewing the guy even as she was sitting on the ground beside him. Number 19. Ghost hunts royal family. There's a lot of mystery about the British royal family, but look at this footage showing what some recognize to be a ghost of Princess Diana in the background. This shot was aired on live TV. Yes, all the polite waving and procedures may have taken our attention away from it, but in the back, if you pay close attention, a face briefly appears, and the movement behind the curtains can't be ignored. Number 20. A pair of scary eyes. The glitch with the eyes after blinking seems to be happening quite often, considering that there are even people who are starting to think it could be what sets reptiles apart from actual people. As soon as you notice it, you will realize where these suspicions are coming from. It certainly isn't pleasant being looked upon by a pair of such scary eyes. Number 21. A mysterious envelope at a funeral. Another family quite covered with mystery and intrigue is the Bush family. As a memorial was held for one of them, very important names, including Trump and Obama, naturally showed up to pay their respects. But having important people around in this event isn't what turned out to be the most intriguing deal. Instead, the envelopes started turning up and being given to various attendees. From their reaction, not much could be gathered about what these contain, but then again, these are some true professionals at keeping their body language at bay. Number 22. Where did he go? As they neared the edge of the field, one of the players seemed to have disappeared entirely. After we see him rolling towards the advertising boards, he does appear to briefly glitch. But that's not the issue. It's that his entire body somehow seems to pass through the advertising boards. Isn't that some serious Harry Potter trickery? Number 23. Nearly killed by a lion. There couldn't possibly be people who still don't get that playing around with dangerous predators may not be the brightest of ideas. Well, some find it comforting to have a professional trainer next to them as they fulfill their wishes and try petting dangerous animals such as lions. From the beginning, we can see that this one is quite playfully biting the man, probably just having a taste that he clearly seems to like. This is when the first warning from the trainer happens as he calms the lion down. But the journalist doesn't seem to understand that this didn't hypnotize the animal, and it still has some plans of its own. It attacks even the trainer, and at that moment, the journalist must have known that he has gotten himself into something very dangerous. Once the lion turned his attention back to the journalist, it could probably even smell his fear, which is why it launched a more serious attack that had to be stopped by an intervention from the trainer. Luckily, their journalist escaped with no serious injuries, but he may think twice before attempting a similar thing again. Number 24. A man of God. We can say that believers are likely to expect miracles from their spiritual leaders, but would we anticipate them to be as obvious as a clear disappearance into thin air that the Pope pulled off on live TV? Number 25. Now you see me, now you don't. As this interview was happening, in the background, something unbelievable occurred. Namely, in the beginning, we see a woman with crossed hands and legs just standing there, and she doesn't seem too eager to pull off a magic trick. However, as soon as she's covered by another woman who's passing by, we see that there's nothing left of her in the back. Indeed, it could be just an error, but how often do we catch these events in real life, let alone on live TV? Live television can be more unpredictable and eerie than any scripted horror movie. All these incidents can remind us of the strange and unexpected twists life can take. We hope you enjoyed the content that we prepared for you today. Thank you for watching.